Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pitch designed for boards and CEOs, and it tackles a massive challenge: how to navigate the shift into what we're calling the intelligence era. This is all about unlocking some serious strategic agility.
I want to start with this idea from F. Scott Fitzgerald, because really this is the core challenge for every single leader in the room today. Navigating today's complexity, holding two opposing ideas at once without freezing up, that's the job.
All right, so let's get right to it. Most leaders, and I bet this sounds familiar, are pretty confident in their strategy. But when you ask them about executing that strategy, that confidence just plummets. And the reason for that gap isn't what you probably think it is.
And here is that gap, in stark numbers. You see, over 60% of CEOs believe their strategy is solid, but look at the bar next to it. Fewer than 10% believe they can actually execute it effectively. That's not just a gap, it's a chasm.
Now, this massive disconnect, it isn't a failure of vision. It's a symptom of something we call truth starvation. It happens when the strategy up here at the top is completely disconnected from the reality down on the ground. And here's the crucial point. Your organizational structure, the very thing designed to create stability, is very likely the real bottleneck. It's what's preventing critical information from surfacing, hiding little surprises until, well, they're not little anymore. They're disasters.
So let's look at that structure. We need to contrast the old model, what we'll call the solid organization, with the new necessity, the liquid organization.
On the left, you've got the solid organization. That's the familiar hierarchy, right? Top-down, clear lines of command. And on the right, you see the liquid network. It's not built around who reports to who. It's built to adapt and flow. That solid model, it inevitably creates what we call false complexity. It's this spaghetti monster of endless alignment meetings, backlogs, and bureaucracy that just drains energy from everyone.
And just look at the cost of this. In a typical solid organization, that coordination overhead, all the work about work, can eat up 40 to 60% of your total energy. Think about that. What could you accomplish if you got all that capacity back?
Here's a great way to think about it. Your current organization is probably like a massive, slow-moving glacier. It's impressive for sure, but it can't pivot. A liquid organization, on the other hand, is like a fleet of high-speed drones. They move together with perfect coherence and can pivot in an instant.
You know, this shift isn't just a simple upgrade. It's a fundamental choice about survival, and it's brilliantly illustrated by two companies we all know, Nokia and Lego.
But first, we need to understand a really critical concept: your implied strategy. This has nothing to do with what's in your PowerPoint deck. Your implied strategy is defined by what your organization actually does, minute by minute. It's revealed in your actions, not your words.
So, Nokia got lured away from its strengths. It started chasing a dream it just wasn't equipped for. Lego, when it was facing total collapse, did the exact opposite. They went back to their core strength, the brick, and they won.
So why does this matter so much? Because a rigid, solid organization is far, far more likely to become Nokia. It's just not built to sense that it's on the wrong path until it's way too late.
So how do you become more like Lego? The key, the secret ingredient, is leveraging AI to unlock a totally new state of matter for your organization. By making that switch from solid to liquid, you can cut your coordination overhead down to less than 10%. And what that does is unlock a potential 500% productivity increase in your capacity to act. That's not an incremental gain, that's a revolution.
And this is how it works. It's really elegant. You let AI automate all that painful coordination work. That frees up your people for what they're truly great at: high-level judgment, creative collaboration, and orchestration.
We are entering a brand new era here. It's a fundamental shift away from the machine era of obedience and into the intelligence era, where human agency comes back to the forefront, amplified by these incredible tools. Now, the biggest barrier to grabbing this opportunity isn't the technology. It's not about code. It's about organizational inertia. It's about people.
And this inertia is explained perfectly by what's known as Gary Hamel's paradox. Simply put, the people in power won't change the system because they benefit from it. And the people who want to change the system, well, they can't.
This catch-22 is what creates so much conversational debt. It's what hides the truth from the board and keeps companies stuck in place, even when everyone knows something has to change.
But the solution isn't necessarily a new CEO. You don't have to blow everything up. What you need is a new operating language for your entire organization, one that's built for this new world. So, what's the first logical step? Where do you even start? It's about shifting your entire approach to strategy itself.
The path forward is actually pretty clear. First, you have to stop trying to perfect an outdated model. Stop polishing the glacier. Then, you have to get brutally honest about your real implied strategy. From there, you can begin building the capacity for continuous, real-time planning.
Look, the transition to the intelligence era is already happening. If you haven't started this journey, you're already late. The only question left, really, is the one right here. Are you ready?